The Minnesota Vikings, fresh off their mini bye, get a surprisingly tough Jets team at home with a chance to seal the division. We'll break down this game right after this. Your NFC North leading 9-2 Vikings welcome the 7-4 surprisingly New York Jets, who come from, again, surprisingly, an incredibly stacked division. A lot of people coming into the season thought that the Bills were going to run away with it. They're in second place right now, tied with Miami at 8-3. New York close behind them, 7-4. The Patriots, even who the Vikings just beat last week, 6-5. So surprisingly, a pretty tough division when people kind of thought it would be a one horse race there kind of in that division. But and the Jets coming off a huge victory over, I mean, it was just the Bears, but put up 31 points behind the arm of Mike White. And we all know how the Vikings can be against backup quarterbacks. So man, this is one of those games looking like, I think when we looked at it coming into the season, we're like, oh, it's the Jets home game against the Jets, easy W. But looking at it now, man, this is going to be a tough team. This Jets team is incredibly talented on both sides of the ball. And man, and like I said, it's a chance to seal the division if we can win this game, and the Jags can take care of the Lions. Which sounds weird to say. The Vikings wrap up the NFC North in Week 13. I'm going to be at the game, so it'd be really cool to see a division clinching W.
That's right.
But yeah, man, but I'm a little bit concerned about this one. The Jets have a 4-1 road record, which is pretty damn solid. Yeah. So yeah, man, I think it's gonna be a fun game. I think it's gonna be a tightly contested game, and a game that has a chance to get high scoring. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I want to bring up the Lions thing. So yeah, if we win this week against the Jets and the Lions lose, we get it's like the earliest division win of all time, I believe. I'm pretty sure. Before before Super Bowl era, I think that's what it is. So pretty much of all time. Which is really interesting because it is kind of like it comes down to the Lions, and it's just really funny that we traded with the Lions during the draft, and they traded us TJ Hawkinson, and now it comes down to us winning and then them losing. I do think they're going to lose though, because I do think they owe us for our trades ending up in two injured players and a right guard that is trying to break Kirk Cousins' foot. So so I don't know. So I'm hoping, I think they owe us one. So I think this week is going to be a week where we do beat the Jets and the Lions, lose to the Jags, and we get that early playoff position, and we can continue talking that going forward. But yeah, as far as just this game, Mike White, I don't think he's the backup anymore. I think it's fair to say he should be the starter. Zach Wilson has had his chance. I mean, it's over 1.5 years now, and he has not looked good.
Right. And Zach Wilson does look like a guy who'd be a great backup to Kirk Cousins for the next couple of years, to maybe potentially step into your starting role. But hey, who knows?
Right. Hey, I'd take a shot on him for a good price, of course. But yeah, so it's a different team with Mike White, because I want to say, the week before they had that bad loss to the Patriots. It was close, but it was people considered there's all excuses, Zach Wilson, which we obviously beat the Patriots the next week. But like you said, I mean, the Jets have a really good defense, actually, but not as good as the Patriots. So I don't think we should have, and we didn't really have that difficult time against the Patriots. So I'm not too worried about that. Maybe some of the players in coverage that we'll get into a little bit later, I'm a little bit more concerned about. But at the end of the day, like you said, we don't play the best against backup quarterbacks this year, but we've won every single game against a backup quarterback this year. So I think, again, this is what's going to happen. And I do think it all comes down to me. I think the key to this game, in my opinion, is to put pressure on Mike White, what we did not do against Mac Jones last week, and what we continue to not do very often until the end of the game, of course. But it's just against these second string quarterbacks, you got to put pressure on them. And we'll dive into more of that again too.
Few little notes at Kevin O'Connell's most recent press conference, which was Wednesday. He did say that Christian Darrisaw is still in the concussion protocol. just listening to him say that, it sounds more and more like Christian Darrisaw will not be available for this game. He said Caleb Evans is kind of in the final stages of it, so he should be rock and rolling, ready to go. I think we still have to wait another week for Dancer to come back because
what about Delvin Tomlinson?
Progressing nicely. Delvin Tomlinson, he did say he expects him to get some full go at practice the last couple days this week, leading into today, and hopefully when the injury report comes out today on Friday here.
Because we need to shore up that run game.
For
that run game needs to be shored up, and it's
I mean we are catching a break with no Breece Hall, obviously due to his ACL injury, but they do still have some other guys. Which
I'm not afraid of Michael Carter.
But Michael Carter Ty Johnson did have 5 carries, 62 yards, and a touchdown. Then something called Zonovan Knight had 14 carries for 69 yards, and then Michael Carter as well. So they have some rushing options on this team. So I mean, obviously that's we'll kind of break in or get down into a little bit more of that in a little bit here, but yeah, hopefully get some injured players back. They had a nice little, as I said, the mini bye to rest up. So, but yeah, I think we got a few matchups we're watching out for in this game. So let's jump into those.
It. But before we do that, I want to thank everybody for watching GG Sports Podcast. Hit subscribe, hit the bell for more notifications of our videos. Once again, we are giving away this Justin Jefferson rookie card, and to find more information about how to win this, go to our Instagram at GG_sports podcast. It's in the description. Go check that out. But it all starts with you subscribing to this channel. So do that, and you have a chance to win this card. We are going to go live this Sunday after we beat the Jets and giving this away. So yeah, let's jump right into this.
So the first one, I think you all know what we're looking out for. The best receiver in the league versus probably defensive rookie of the year. So Justin Jefferson, of course, we all know the guy's an absolute stud. I do love the picture, by the way. The cheese head, perfect, nice little touch on that one. I like it. But Justin Jefferson, he's I believe he's 1 yard off of the lead behind Tyreek Hill in receiving yards. Obviously, we knew he went on a little touchdown drought, but I think he's caught a touchdown in 3 straight games now. But I know a couple weeks ago when we were looking at the matchup with Trevon Diggs, we're like, oh, this is going to be a huge matchup. This one might be even bigger. If you go back now to April, there's a very, very good chance that Sauce Gardner is the number 1 overall pick in this draft going to the Jaguars. I mean, the guy has just been absolutely phenomenal. Has he allowed a touchdown yet this season? I mean,
I actually looked into it. So what looks like a happen is, so I'm not 100% sure. PFF, I think it had him have 2 touchdowns scored on him or something like that. But I know the last time they did it, he said something like, hey, that wasn't me, that was someone else. So PFF took that one off, but I'm pretty sure Sauce said something like, hey, I'll let you guys keep the first touchdown that wasn't on me, but then the second one, I'm not going to say anything. So I think in Sauce Gardner's mind, I don't think he has a touchdown scored on him yet this season.
Well, I love to hear that. But looking at his other stats, 48 tackles, 14 passes defensed, and already 2 interceptions. Man, like there's not much more you can say about this guy. The guy's an absolute stud. Like I said, probably number 1 overall pick in the draft. He's, I think, pretty much a shoo-in for defensive rookie of the year. Aiden Hutchinson might give him a little bit of a run, but just with the season he's had so far, and especially just that cornerback position, the second hardest position behind quarterback to transition to the NFL.
Right.
This is going to be one hell of a matchup. And, we feel like Justin Jefferson's so old. He's only in his 3rd season. So he's still, obviously he is what he is, but he's still relatively young. But going against this young, confident rookie corner, it's going to be something to watch. And I'm actually, I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I think you're going to see, I don't know how Jets play their defense, if it's like us where they shadow someone or where, we don't shadow any players or whatever, but I wonder if they do that with Sauce. We really like Sauce coming into that draft before all the hype really started, like where he was projected like mid-round, and we really liked him. And then all of a sudden, like through the draft process, it was obvious that there's no way we were going to be able to get him, which sucked because it would have been the obvious pick for us because he looked that talented, that swag he had, and it's showing on the field. But he's not, I don't think he hasn't faced anybody like Justin Jefferson. And I know that because there is nobody like Justin Jefferson, and he's the best wide receiver in the league. And, I know Trevon Diggs and Slay has kind of held Justin Jefferson, but I do think in those games, there's a lack of making sure you get Justin Jefferson the ball in other ways too than just, regular routes. So I do hope that in this game, and it's going to be really important to win this, especially against a guy that's been really good as Sauce. He's still a rookie, but we need to get the ball into Justin Jefferson's hands in creative ways. And I don't care, even if he has to throw the ball again, because has a good arm and he has to have completed like every throw he's made so far. And there's been like a handful of them. So,
Right.
Obviously this is a huge matchup, and if someone can hold Justin Jefferson in check, that is not good for our team. So we really need that all to step up. But
part of the issue with the last big matchup we highlighted against him and Trevon Diggs was the fact that Kirk just didn't have enough time to get rid of the football. And in this, and like just kind of looking at in that aspect of this game, our offensive line is up for a huge test. Just looking at some of the stats and players on this team. Of course, one of the guys you got to look at, I believe he was a high pick for them a few years back. Quinnen Williams already has 8 sacks this season. A guy we both liked, Minnesota kid, Jermaine, didn't go to college, but from Minnesota, Jermaine Johnson, 2.5 sacks. Yeah, this team is just.
It's man, they won the draft, right? They won the draft. Breece Hall got hurt. That sucks. But just knowing what Breece Hall is, man, and we're going to get into another rookie pretty quick here. Yeah. But man, what a draft.
Right. But I mean, then you also got Quan Alexander. The sack numbers aren't huge, but he's producing. There was another player on their list here I saw who I think he had 5 sacks this season already as well. But yeah, it's just this defense, man. This defense can get after the quarterback. Yeah. So, our offensive line has got to do what they did last week against Matthew Judon. They're going to have to hold up well and give Kirk some time. And if you give Kirk some time, we all see he can be an assassin. So this is, I think that's the key to getting this matchup shown on the big stage is our offensive line just protecting Kirk the best they can.
Right. And, they do have a good pass rush. I mean, according to PFF, they have the 4th best, which number 1 is Dallas Cowboys, who destroyed us. Number 2 is Philadelphia Eagles, who I don't remember. I don't know if their defense was all over us that game. I think our offense just sucked, but maybe they were. And then Buffalo Bills, which we held our own against them. And then the Patriots are 16. And I'm pretty sure last week they were much higher than that. So I think they dropped quite a bit because of last game, which I think we allowed one sack. Did we even allow a sack last game? Maybe one sack?
I don't think we did, no.
I don't think we did. So, I mean,
I think Kirk got sacked one time near the end of the game.
Oh yeah, right at the end. Yeah. But yeah, we just got to hold up again against their defenders. I'm not too afraid. I think their defense definitely is kind of scary. I think Sauce. I think they do have a lot of talent on defense. I would say, I'm not really that afraid of and I said this last week. I'm not afraid of their offense. Some of their players are studs. But I said the same thing last week. I was more worried about Patriots defense, and it feels like the same kind of game. I would probably say New York Jets and the Patriots are actually pretty damn similar in where their talent is on their team. Mm-hmm. But we scored pretty easily last week, and we did not hold well defensively last week.
Right.
So hopefully we can just hold better defensively this week, and our offense still scores on them, and hopefully we can have our first game that doesn't come till the end, or we just win out.
It's coming
right, but
coming to the end. But they have 34 sacks, 12 interceptions, so it is a very, very stout defense here.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next key matchup, another talented rookie that the Jets got their hands on. We're looking at Patrick Peterson and probably the other side as well, depending on how they decide to align things against Garrett Wilson, and we'll throw in Elijah Moore in there as well since he had a good week last week, but. And Garrett Wilson, again, I think he was a guy we were both saying if the Vikings, and I think we kind of heard rumors of this, of maybe this was being a potential option as well, that if he was there at 12, the Vikings probably would have tried to snag him. But last week, coming off a 5-catch, 95-yard, 2-touchdown performance. So far throughout the season, he has 49 receptions, 628 yards, and 4 touchdowns. The guy's super talented. We're seeing both these Ohio State guys coming out this year, huge. Patrick Peterson, this is an interesting matchup. You got the wily vet, and you got the young upstart rookie. And Patrick Peterson has performed way better than we both thought he would this season.
Yeah, great. All pro.
So this is going to be a matchup to watch here, and I'm really curious to see how it's going to go, especially with Mike White in at quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, we love Wilson, and he was our number one wide receiver coming into the draft. Like, no question. That's who we really were hoping somehow we were able to get him. And I have him in fantasy. I think you have him in fantasy too, right?
No, I don't.
Oh, you
I
don't.
wish.
Yeah, I do. And he's just really talented, and it was kind of shitty to see that Zach Wilson was not able to take advantage of it. But man, Joe Flacco and now Mike White, we know can and make sure he gets the ball similar to like the way that we do and try to do, at least with Justin Jefferson. So I think he is definitely the biggest threat, and not just him, but we have to also think of Elijah Moore, because Elijah Moore is also a really good football player that I just do not think he was used right up until this point. Even last week, he had a couple more touchdowns. I think Mike White is just he's just a better prototypical type of quarterback, I think. So I think we have to worry about him too. So unlike last week, I think we have more talented wide receivers. They're young. They are super young, year 1, year 2. So hopefully, our veteran presence with guys like Harry and Patrick Peterson can, hold them and use that. That's the thing. They have so much good talent, but a lot of their best talent is so young. Even Mike White was a rookie last year, right?
I think so. Yeah, I heard something like that.
So, and we have so many veterans on our defense, on our offense, and hopefully at the end of the day, we can just use that as our advantage against this young, inexperienced, but talented team.
Actually, Mike White was drafted in 2018, so he's actually
he's been around for a while.
He's been in the league for a while. Yeah.
Who did he get drafted by?
What did it say? He was drafted by Dallas. Really? Interesting. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, one little thing about Zach Wilson. Everybody wants the next Patrick Mahomes, the guy with a big arm who can scramble a little bit, or the next Josh Allen, whatever you want to say there. But that's what they're looking for in him. And hasn't. I mean, people said he's going to be a little bit raw coming out of college. He hasn't developed as fast as Mahomes. He still has a shot. We'll see what happens with him down the road. But that's not our team. We're talking about the Minnesota Vikings. So yeah, this defense, man, yeah. This offense can ruin games for a defense. So the way our defense has been, it is imperative that our pass rush gets after Mike White. The guy's not prone to interceptions, or is prone to interceptions. I don't know what I'm trying to say.
Well, he likes to throw. The thing about him, actually, to bring this up right away, I want to say this is, if you could, from last year and this year, he really, really, really likes to throw to his running backs. So I think this is a game, like, look at what you see with Ty Johnson. Last year, Michael Carter had like at least 5. He had like 9 reception, 10 reception games playing with Mike White. So Ed Donatel, pay attention to that. But yeah, man, it all comes down to, I think, getting after Mike White and forcing him to make mistakes. I mean, he doesn't have tons of experience back there. And not just that, according to PFF, the Jets have what is it right here? 61 pass block grade. Their pass is 50, but you can put that on Zach Wilson's back probably a little bit. But a 61 pass block, it's definitely a hole in their offense. So, I do think this is a game that we can feast on their offensive line. And we just have to do that. Our game plan has to be about that. We need Harrison Smith at the line of scrimmage more often. I remember we were playing last game, and I was thinking, like, we need to get Harrison Smith up there. And finally we did. And then he had like a pressure that turned into like a bad play or whatever. But it was towards the end of the game. Like, that's when we start adding the pressure. We just need to do that right away. And to me, this is the giant. We bring it up every single week, but man, when you're against not the best offensive line, and you're against a quarterback who wasn't even the starter until last week, your goal should be to make him as uncomfortable as possible, and it should be the best way to stop that offense.
Yeah, but under Ed Donatel, I'm not holding my hopes up for that.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, definitely, like you said, get pressure on him, force him into some mistakes, because he will make them. He's in his career, he's thrown 8 interceptions, and yeah, so he will make mistakes if you get after him. But that's the biggest thing. We just haven't been able to generate consistent pass rush, so that is going to be huge, and it just makes the job easier all down the line for your corners, for your safeties. Harrison Smith, he doesn't need to keep like watching out over that back end. He can play more free and can do the things that Harrison Smith has done in the past. So yeah, man, this was a matchup that at the beginning of the season, you're probably like, it's the Jets, it's an easy dub, but I think this is going to be an exciting, tightly contested game. And And, I think with Mike White, the Jets are a better team right now. And yeah, talent on both sides of the ball. It's going to be, it's gonna be rough. Any other thoughts you got before we get into some score predictions?
Yeah, I just, let's win this game. Let's have the Lions lose, and let's start talking playoffs in week 13. We're going into week 14. But yeah, let's jump into predictions.
All right, go ahead. I will let you kick them off.
All right, so I'm going to start with player, and I'm going to go with the obvious, Justin Jefferson. I think he scores a touchdown right over Sauce Gardner and gives him a real introduction into the NFL. And Sauce Gardner allows his first mental touchdown, in his opinion, that he cannot say wasn't one. And so that's my player prediction. I don't know how many yards Justin Jefferson has. I know he needs to average like 143 a game to get over 2,000. So screw it. Let's give him 150 yards. Why not? Score predictions. I think I'm jumping on your wagon here. I'm going to take full accountability with every single week, me giving them a really high score. And I'm starting to think that it's my fault. So I'm going to go with you, and I'm going to say 24-21. Vikes, of course, and hopefully we just blow them out because I said that. So, okay. How about you?
Yeah, player prediction. I'm going the guy giving JJ the ball. I'm going Kirk Cousins. 350, another 3 touchdown game. Ooh. Because I think the score on this game is going to get up there. I think we're looking at a 31-27 street fight, like back and forth.
You gave us one more point than I did.
I did, but it's still going to be a close game. But that's what I'm saying. It's going to have to get high score.
So it's not coming down to a field goal, though.
No, it's not coming down to a field goal because I don't trust Greg Joseph. Okay. It's going to be a battle all game long, and I think this is going to be a really, really fun one to watch. We want to know your guys' thoughts on this game. Let us know those as well as your score predictions down in the comment section, and we'll see you guys on Sunday breaking down this game.
Casey's going to be there. He's never been to a losing game, so let's hope that stands.
It will.
Skol Vikes.